Hashtag Marc Stuart Medium is hashtag the Scottish Medium.
Okay. Dear Father, Mother, Spirit, we just want to come to you and just to help any family members from the other side or anyone in spirit that needs to get a message across to a family member that is here, or a friend or a former loved one, and just to help us open up to receive those messages so we can help the individuals present. And any and if there's anyone here that has a family member that needs healing, would you please send healing to those family members? I do have 2 family members that need healing sent to them, my father and my brother-in-law, Michael. And if anyone else who has a family member here that did not mention their name, please send them healing as well. And it's in your name we pray this. Amen.
Amen. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is grounding, then we'll do an opening. So if everybody wants to make yourself comfortable, close your eyes, take a deep breath. I want you to hold to the count of 1, 2, 3, and exhale. Now take another deep breath. And this time, before you exhale, I want you to clear every thought, everything out of your mind. I want you just to have a blank, cloud-like white light in your mind, and exhale. And take one final deep breath. And this time, that final distraction, that final irritation, that final thought that's distracting you, just get rid of it as you exhale. You're now grounded, so keep your eyes closed and listen to my voice. We're now going to open. So, picture yourself in the roots of a tree. You're way deep down underground. And picture yourself moving up through the roots of the tree. The roots get thicker as you move up the roots. And as you move up the roots, you finally find yourself in the trunk of the tree. It's an old tree, it's a thick tree. Move up the trunk, and as you move closer and closer to the branches, and finally, you find yourself at the thickest branch. And just move into the branch. Move down the branch, it curves down with its weight, and then it moves up. The branch splits and splits again. And finally move into the twig. And at the end of that twig is a leaf. It's a curled up autumn brown leaf. Move into that leaf. And as you move into it, it becomes energized with summer light. It uncurls, it opens up. And as it opens up, it becomes bright summer light green. And when it's fully open, know that you are now open and able to receive messages from the other side. When you're ready, open your eyes. Okay. Now, we're going to do what's called a guided meditation. So close your eyes again. And just feel yourself sitting in your chair. It's a comfortable chair. It's the most comfortable position you've ever been in your entire life. Just completely relax and listen to my voice. You've never felt so comfortable since you were a child. So think back to your childhood. Think back when you were sitting in your high chair. Think how comfortable that was, because it was more than just a comfortable chair. It was completely safe. You knew that mother, father, whoever was looking after you was totally protected. And that's where you are now. You are totally protected, sitting in your chair. Now, I want you to leave that protection. I want you to mentally stand up and leave your body behind. Take a step forward. Turn around and look at yourself, because you're leaving your safe body behind. Now, don't worry, your body's perfectly safe, and you're now pure energy, and you're going to do some traveling. You're going to do a lot of traveling, actually. And that's why you've left your heavy body behind. Heavy simply in that it's planetary. So start floating. Move up, through the ceiling, through the roof, through the attic, outside your home. Look back at your home. As you keep floating up the way, look down at it, and it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And you keep going up and up and up. Up through the sky, through the clouds. The atmosphere is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. It doesn't matter, you don't need to breathe. Your body needs to breathe, and you've left that behind. Finally, you're so high, you're looking down at the country, the continent, the entire planet. It's now a big, massive ball beneath you. And you keep going up and up and up. And as you move further away, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And you find yourself moving towards that heavenly body that we call the moon. And it's not a coin-size circle in the sky anymore. It's as big as the planet you just left, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And you get closer to it. And finally you get to the surface, but you're not landing. Remember, you're not physical. You go through the moon. And nobody's ever actually dug a hole to the center of the moon, so nobody knows what's down there. Is it molten lava like the Earth, or is it rock solid? You're going so fast at this point, you can't touch it. You've got no idea. Eventually, you start coming out at the other side, and you zoom away. And you look at that big planetary silver body on the dark side, illuminated against the Earth, getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Now you're moving out into the solar system. And the planets are aligned perfectly for you tonight. Here comes Mars. You're not going through it. You're managing to sort of zoom past it. But reach out and touch the atmosphere. Bring your fingers along it as you zoom past at high speed. Here comes the asteroid belt. And look at the size of these chunks of rock. They make your house look tiny. They make you look tiny. You zoom around them, you fly around them. Not a straight path, because you're not going to go through anything. And you come out the other side of the asteroid belt. Now, there's one planetary system in this solar system that's so big it dwarfs our home planet. And here it comes, the planet Jupiter. And it's perfectly aligned for you to see the storm, what's called the red eye of Jupiter. We're not going to live dangerously. We're not going down into the storm. We're just zooming past it, past all the moons, and keep going. And the other planetary bodies, we're not going to go and look at them because we're in a hurry. We've still got a long way to go. Finally, you get to the final bodies, the final comets, the final things that we call planets. Planets that get changed definition. Are they planets or not? And you leave the solar system. Look back at the star. It's now just a tiny dot, size of a football, getting smaller and smaller and smaller as you move away. Finally, the solar system is just a speck of light as we zoom away. We're going into the center of the Milky Way. And as we travel, the stars are getting, although they're all so far away, they're getting denser and denser and denser. And you could almost put your hand out and touch them, but you're so far away from them. This isn't Mary had a little dream and touched out and touched a star. This is serious physics we're dealing with here. These stars are so far away, you'd have to travel for the rest of our talk to get there. Finally, we're arriving at our destination. It's the center of the Milky Way. And what's waiting for us? A black hole. So massive and so big, it's unimaginable. And we're going straight towards it. Spiritual energy. Now, they say a black hole can absorb everything and anything. And it does, including you. Even as spiritual energy, you're being absorbed. And you're appearing at the other side of a black hole. Nobody knows what it is, but tonight you're going to discover it's a white hole. And it's black on one side, it's white, bright white on the other. And this is a universe where everything is the reverse. Stars are dark, space is a white light. And floating around you are all the angelic beings that you knew were there, but you never knew where to find them. So when you come back, don't go and buy a second-hand rocket and try and get there, because you really won't get there. It's too far. And angels around you, creatures from 1,000 civilizations operating in this universe crossed over into the spiritual realm. Say hello to them. One of them comes up and says, "Hello, I'm your guide for tonight." Takes you by the hand and takes you towards what can only be described as a tree. Very similar to the tree that you just did your guided meditation in. But this tree is huge. This tree is so big it has cities on leaves. And it brings you down to one of those leaves, and you have to get in a jet plane to fly from one side of it to the other. But you land in the airport, you get out, and it's an angelic city, even if they have planes. And your guide takes you to a tower block, 500 stories high. In the front door, into the lift, ding, and the lift goes up so high and so fast, gets to the top, and it's the penthouse apartment, and it's your apartment. It's been hired for you tonight. And you walk in, and it's the lap of luxury, and the servants bring you some food. There's even servants in this universe, in this spiritual plane. Have a delicious meal, relax, sit at the table, have some nice conversation with your guide. And then finally, she says to you, "It's time for you to meet your loved one." Gets you up, takes you over to a door. Could be any door in this apartment. They all look spectacular. Opens the door, and you walk into a room that's a room from your memory. It could be any room, but it's your room. It could be from your childhood, could be from your current life. It's a room that you feel very, very comfortable in, because it's your safe room. Might even be the room you left. So have a good look around the room and recognize it. And sitting in the center of the room are two chairs. One's empty, waiting for you. And one is your loved one who's been waiting for you to come. They stand up, they walk over, they embrace you, they greet you. They take you back to the two chairs. Sit down. Now I'm going to leave you together for about the next 2 or 3 minutes. This is your time together. This is real. Everything up till now has just been my voice and imagination to get you into a mental state to meet your loved one. Talk to them, listen to them, and I'll come back in 3 minutes. Okay, now listen to my voice. It's time to say farewell to your loved one. Stand up together. Embrace as appropriate. Start walking back to the door. Your loved one is behind you. Don't look back. They know it's your time to leave. They'll leave themselves. Go through the door. Close the door behind you. The angel's waiting to take you by the hand. And the angel snaps their finger. And the building that you're standing in, even though you're up on the 500th floor, just dissolves. But the angel with wings is holding your hand, and the two of you together start floating upwards away from that great planetary tree. Look down. Even as you float away from it, it takes a long time to shrink in size, not like the speed that our home planet shrunk. But eventually, it's just a dot. All the angelic beings around you are all going their busy ways in different directions. And up ahead of you is that big white light, the white hole. And as you get to it, you go through it. And it's like going through a multicolored tunnel. You come out the other side, out the black hole, moving away from it. You don't realize how fast you're traveling. Through the stars, through the Milky Way, out to that spiral, end of that spiral arm where we're located, where the planet Sol is. Come to the edge of our solar system. Stop and take a good look at Pluto. It's a small planet. Put your finger out and skim its atmosphere. Head in the way. Past the Saturn planetary giant. We skip past that one on the way out. Have a good look at it. It's massive. Past Saturn, Jupiter. Keep going through the asteroid belt. Past Mars. In towards Earth. The sun's giving you a nice, warm, faint heat in the background. We come towards the atmosphere. And the angel lets go of you and disappears. And you slowly come down. And you start going faster and faster and faster. And you realize that maybe you're going a little bit too fast. So just pull the ripcord on the parachute. And that parachute opens out behind you, multicolored. And you slowly float down. And as you come down to the roof of your home, your feet go through, there's still energy. The parachute disappears. You slowly float through the attic, down through the ceiling. Thud, land on the floor. There's your body waiting for you, still perfectly safe. Walk over, shimmer into your body, a bit like slipping into your pajamas. Get comfortable, get relaxed, take possession again. Become one with your own body. And when you're ready, open up your eyes and come back to reality. Right. So we'll do a closing down and then we'll do a prayer. So if everybody makes yourself comfortable, close your eyes, put your feet firmly on the ground. Picture yourself back with the open green leaf. And just picture yourself going into the leaf. And as you go into the leaf, it starts to curl up and turns from summer green to autumn dry golden brown. Move up through the twig into the branch. Move into the branch. Move down the tree. As you move down the tree, it's an oak tree. Slowly, eventually, you come to the earth. Leave the oak, move into the strong, thick roots. Work your way down through the roots, and as you work your way down, they get thinner and thinner and thinner, almost until the roots are thinner than twigs themselves. And then just leave, go into Mother Gaia Earth, and look up, and there's a strong, layer of grass above you, closing you down. And that's you now closed. So if you all join me together in a prayer, dear Father, Mother, Spirit, thank you very much for bringing us all together, regardless of arrival times, even if some people had to leave early. Please take the healing energy, and please, although she's not here, send all the energy that we can generate tonight, all of it, to Michelle and to our two relations. Sorry if I got it wrong, but grandfather and I think it's uncle-in-law or brother-in-law. Please, you know who we're talking about, send the energy to the two of them. And please give Taz the strength that she needs to cope with it, to cope with her son, and to do whatever she needs to do to support the relatives that now need that support, and send some energy to them as well, even if they don't know where it's coming from. Thank you. Amen. Okay.